Thank you very much, Ms. Lee, for the kind introduction. And thank you to the organizers of the Beyond Expo for this opportunity to be in Macau today. I bring greetings from the Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, who has a deep connection with this geography. Some of you may recall that he was the Prime Minister of Portugal when Macau returned to Chinese sovereignty. At the time, late President Jiang Zemin was the President of the People's Republic of China. So today I want to share some thoughts on AI and sustainability. The interface of artificial intelligence with climate change, with the energy transition, with the green transition. And I'll try and present a balanced view. There is a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of optimism about how AI and other emerging technologies can help us advance on the green transition. At the same time, there is concern about the impact on energy consumption, on water consumption, on material resources. So what's the nuance, what's the reality, and how do we see this changing over time at the United Nations? And this is a good year to be having this conversation. There is a Summit of the Future in New York, at which a global digital compact is to be adopted. That's like a shared vision of a digital future for the international community. So what role does AI play in that? How does it help us move forward on the sustainable development goals? So those things are very much on the agenda of that summit. We also have a very significant discussion at the G7 this year on AI and energy. So it's a good time to be having these reflections. Now, let me start with the concern. If you look at the trends from the past few years, particularly with the advent of generative AI, you see a steep rise in power consumption. The compute intensity of generative AI and AI in general is rising at about 400% a year. Of course, hardware efficiency is improving, so the current generation of GPUs, other hardware used in AI is better than what we had before. So this efficiency increase is of the order of 25%. But if you compare 25% with 400%, it's going to land us pretty soon by 2026 with about 70 terawatt hours of consumption for AI alone. And that's equivalent to roughly Finland or Austria in Europe. And this is just extrapolating from current trends. And it could be more. And then the embedded carbon footprint in the hardware is today about 50%. And as hardware efficiency improves, this could rise even further. So you have this energy cost, you have the embedded carbon footprint of the hardware infrastructure, and this is not going to go away because you need denser and denser data centers for the training runs that are coming. And then you have the water consumption, which is somewhat harder to capture, but it's certainly out there. And you see why we at the UN are concerned about the sustainability implications of AI. Now, this said, there's a tremendous opportunity to leverage artificial intelligence to help us navigate the green transition, the energy transition. help us improve energy efficiency around the world, help us integrate renewable energy sources into existing grids, particularly in the global south, help us measure point sources of emissions. Just this morning with some friends from RMI, we were speaking about climate trace, which is a good example of how you can pick up those point sources of greenhouse gas emissions. And most importantly, help us tune policies. As you pick up signals, data, real time, by leveraging artificial intelligence, you can be more efficient in terms of your policy responses. And it is beginning to happen in many, many ways. Just one example, when it comes to permits for new energy projects, there is a classical process that takes a certain amount of time, and then you can use generative AI today to automate a large section of that process. So in Denmark, you see officials, public officials, using AI to speed up the permitting of new projects on energy, reducing the time it takes for us to take action. So there are policy-related action following policy-related implications of AI that are just about emerging. And I'm not speaking here of the technology side, where of course there are some exciting opportunities in terms of reducing material consumption, reducing energy consumption, etc. So where do we end up? Where is the balance today? I think things are very much hanging in the balance today. For me, the concern outweighs the excitement for now. And one reason for that is that we could get locked into an AI development and use paradigm that ends up being a significant consumer of energy and other resources. Today, on the average, there is a consumption of energy by data centers and associated infrastructure of about 1.5%. In China, it's about 3%. In the US, it's about 4%. Europe, about 2%. Now, as you have more and more people get on the AI bandwagon on applications that are addictive, like the social media applications, the inference energy footprint of AI, the queries that you run on ChatGPT, that's going to go up. Already for Google, and these are figures from 2 years ago, the inference costs of the AI footprint are about 60% and going up. So we could get locked in a paradigm where without much benefits on the SDGs side, we have these significant and growing costs. And this reminds me of how we got locked in on the internal combustion paradigm, and how we are struggling today, decades later, to get out of that paradigm. So the time for action, policy action, is now. We have to make sure that AI is rolled out, developed in a way that there is more international collaboration. We don't have the same kind of models being developed in 50 different places, constituting a drain on limited compute resources, limited natural resources. We have to make sure that AI use is directed towards solving SDGs-related, sustainability-related problems, rather than creating addictive applications that make a lot of money for some companies, but overall are harmful for the planet. So this is where things are today. And I hope your discussions today, your deliberations would help us seize the moment at this critical time. Thank you very much for your patience, and good luck with the rest of the deliberations.